Hello, I am coming at you with part two of planning your ACAD 1300 course. I'm going to focus just on the required assignments and give you some examples. Hopefully this will be a little shorter than the other one, but thanks for playing along, even if it's a little not as short as I hoped. So this is part two. And what I'm going to do is walk through the required assignments. So those of you who've taught this course for many, many semesters, I do encourage you to go ahead and watch this whole thing. You can speed it up if you want to. Watch me move my hands really, really quickly. But I want to just be clear on some tweaks that I've made to the required assignments, and realized that last semester I wasn't as clear about the changes that had been made as possible. So you may remember from part one that I've normally said there are 3 required assignments. I always have said, we have a common final as of fall 2020. For some reason, never added it to the list, just kind of kept it separate. So there was a little confusion around that. So I'm going to put it all together to make sure that you're not as confused as you have been perhaps in the past. So just to remind you that common final exam helps me with DST assessment. How well are students doing? Are they understanding the content? And I'll be able to, when I analyze all of that, share with you where I feel like students are really, really mastering the content and where we still have work to do. I'll give you one simple example of some of the data that I've looked at, that students really still struggle with what lower division core is, how those courses are really instrumental to their development throughout their college degree. And so that tells me that maybe we need to do a little bit more in terms of content around that or instruction around that. So just a reminder, self-awareness assignment is tied to the responsible living rubric. We have to have something that is an assessment that we can give to the UCA Core Council so they can see how well people and courses are doing in the responsible living rubric. So that's kind of non-negotiable. We have an information literacy unit that is tied to that collaboration and written communication rubric, again, for the UCA Core assessment. And then every first year seminar has a UCA Core assignment. Those vary, and I'm going to show you some examples. So if you are not familiar with the responsible living rubric, there is a copy of it in this folder where all of these resources lie. But I'm just going to show you a piece of it to show you kind of how we built the assignment. So in order for it to be in the responsible living, it needs to address a real world problem and find some ethical solutions for individuals and society. So students need to, in this assignment, recognize an issue. They need to analyze the knowledge that they have, and they need to determine what the impact or the consequences of decisions that they can make or things that they could do on this issue. And how it affects themselves or others. So it's kind of broad. And so you're going to see some examples that I'm going to share that still kind of fit into that responsible living, because this course is really, really focused on the student experience and helping them make the most of it. It's very natural to create an assignment that is focused on that particular element, the student experience and the student issue. So here's an example of a self-awareness assignment that I'm calling the personal essay. And you can do this however you want to do it. They write it, they present it. But basically what they do is identify a college-related problem that they've experienced that would keep them from their academic or college-related goals. It could be low grade. It could be not knowing what they want to major in or not knowing what careers are available. It could be relationship issues. It could be mental health. All of those things could be issues, and they're real issues for college students that could keep them from completing their goal. Then you ask them to diagnose their issue, what's contributed to it, what have you done or not done, and what do you know about what we've learned in this class that can help you find a solution. And then ask them to either try a solution or pick something and then walk through what the consequences could be. And then there's a final piece to this of just kind of giving an overview of what their experience is, if they got to actually try something, or what they imagine would be some takeaways for them and be of help to them. So one way to do this assignment is to ask them early on to identify an issue or help them identify an issue. Maybe they're not doing well in your class or some other classes, and kind of break this assignment up over the semester and get them to then, they've identified some issues. Now let's figure out or try some things out. Maybe it's going to a peer coach. Maybe it's making an appointment with the student health center. Maybe it's going to tutoring. What are you going to do, or what can you do this semester? And go ahead and have them experience that. Then they're writing at the end of the semester on that experience. That's a great way to do it. It's not the only way to do it. You can also, put this at the end of the semester and just ask them to think about what they have learned over the semester that could help them with that. Another way to get at this assignment is to create a case study. And so if you don't want students to use themselves, then perhaps building a complex case study, you can use the ones that are from the instructor's manual as a guide, or you can use them wholesale, but ask them to then do the same thing, identify the issue or issues that the student faces. In the more comprehensive case studies, they're going to be complex and there are going to be several issues going on. So getting students to kind of pull those apart, tease them out, can be very helpful to them. And again, walking them through diagnosis, what has the student done or not done? What are some possible solutions? Again, from what they're learning in the class. And that's where you want to make sure that you're presenting information, getting them to connect with information that can be helpful to them. So same concept as the personal essay, it's just not personal. It's diagnosing a fake student. Another way to get at this is a little more creative, a little more complex, but you go ahead and give them the issue, which is at UCA in particular. You can also give them national data if you want to. Only 35% of first-time entering students complete their degrees in 4 years. But we know that specific activities, experiences, and relationships can greatly improve the likelihood. So this is a great issue to start with, even at the beginning of the semester, to kind of sell the course, to say, hey, these are the realities. And this course is about helping you buck the odds, right? I'm going to show you all the things in this course that are going to help you develop all of the strategies that are going to be helpful to you long term. So the written assignment part is that they actually create a future you resume and cover letter. And you can connect those key elements to things that you've talked about all semester. How to identify registered student organizations to join, how to build a social network, all of those kinds of things can be included in this resume and cover letter, where they have to ask or have to show and demonstrate what they have done 4 years from now. Then you can ask them to create a short presentation, perhaps on just a couple of the elements, not the whole thing, and get them to talk about those they think are going to be the most impactful to them, and also why. What is it about having really good mentors are going to help you succeed? What is it about selecting courses in the lower division core that are going to align with your career aspirations? Why is that going to help you? So this could be a little bit more creative, but still get at those pieces of that rubric. And by the way, we will share full assignments with you so that you can just snag them if you want them, or you can create your own. The second required assignment is the information literacy assignment. And I just want to let you know that, and I'll say this probably repeatedly, Amber Wilson did a phenomenal job. She's our library faculty. And she also teaches this course. She's created basically standalone content for the information literacy assignment. So remember, that is part of the written and collaboration rubric that we use as part of our first year seminar. So she has developed this around these particular topics, and students can choose if you'd like them to, or if you want to assign them. I find that letting them choose gives them a lot of empowers them in terms of their enjoyment of the project. So there's really nothing that you have to create for this unless you want to. There are folders, and they will be updated. They're not quite updated yet, but they will be in time for us to copy them into your Blackboard shell. And you're going to have content around just the topic of why is reliable information important. And then you've got a treasure trove of library instruction videos. So this is the first folder that you just saw, why is reliable information important? And Amber has curated this content kind of as an opening conversation about why we need to have these skills. So great way to kind of justify the purpose of this unit or this content. She has also created a lot of really great short instructional videos on just the information publication life cycle, but also how to search on the library databases and how to complete the individual and group assignments. So again, it is there. We can do a training with Amber if you want to delve a little deeper in how do you deploy this, but it is all there for you. And again, you don't have to create anything. I would encourage you at least to go through it before classes start so that you're familiar with it. When you decide to assign this content during the semester, I'm going to encourage you to create your groups, probably a little bit better than just having students create groups themselves for a variety of reasons. And you may want to think about diversity whenever you pull those groups together. It's very natural for people to gravitate towards people that look like them or seem to come from the same backgrounds. This is a great opportunity to break up little cliques in your class and also get people to be exposed to different people. So in this semester in the spring, I had a lot of international students. They often like to hang together, which I understand. This gave them an opportunity to work and separate out and work with people that they haven't normally worked with. So you may want to think about that whenever you're building those. And I try to put at least one kind of leader, somebody that has obviously done well in the class in each group so that we have at least somebody that you feel like you could rely on. So other information that is in that already in those Blackboard folders, we have already created our individual assignment and also the group presentation. So it is already there. There's nothing you have to do. And one of the most beautiful things about it is Amber's done a fantastic job of creating assignment instructions, and students, it's very easy for them to do and not have to ask a lot of questions about. So here's an example. Each student individually will do what's called a radar assignment. And again, she's got a video on how to do it. She's also got a model assignment, so students know how it's supposed to look. And it walks them through exactly all the questions they have to answer, all the information. She's also created a template for the slides. And again, it is basically gives direction in the slides. Put your group members here, put your course name, put the date. Make sure that each individual slide has the student's name on it. So again, very easy to deploy, not a lot that you have to do other than kind of lead them along. So that is the information literacy assignment. Last thing I'm going to talk about is the UCA core assignment. So I said it is required of all first year seminars. but there's a variety of ways that you can create what we're going to call an artifact, which is what the assessment team will need whenever they assess students' understanding of the UCA core. We do have a quiz that will be in the course shell if you want to use it. I do recommend going over the UCA core. There is, and I'll give you access to, if you don't already have that, the slides, and we can do a little presentation on that if you need it. But it's basically explaining to them what the purpose of the core is, how to read the core check sheet in some cases, but definitely gives them an introduction to kind of what the purpose of a liberal arts education is. Again, not all students really, it clicks with them. Some of them are still a little bit like, why am I having to do this? But at the very least, you get some information in front of them, and they can at least identify those pillars. They can identify the categories, and they understand a little bit better how to do that. So final reminders, student final exams will be collected or downloaded from Blackboard each semester. So I do encourage you to have students upload their responses in Blackboard, and we can talk about how to do that during a final exam. But if you have them handwrite it or submit it in some other form, we'll just talk about how to get that to me. Just remember that those other required assignments, they're on a rotating basis. So not every semester does the UCA Core Council or Assessment Department ask for those artifacts, but we still need to do them. So perhaps maybe this fall, we're not going to be pulling that responsible living assignment like we did a couple of years ago, but probably the next year or so we will. So we'll just continue to do that to make sure we align with what the categories and first year seminars expect. Using Blackboard for these assignments and any assignment really does help tremendously if you are well versed in Blackboard. If not, feel free to just let students turn in assignments in different ways, shapes, and forms. Just make sure you kind of keep up with it and give them feedback in a timely manner. You may weight these assignments or however you feel fits best into your overall grade composition. I usually give the information literacy assignment about 10 to 12% of their overall grade. I usually give the final exam about 15% of their overall grade, and often give the self-awareness project about 15% of their overall grade. It's up to you, but you certainly want to think about not weighting it too little, because there's no motivation there, right? Or too much, because there's going to be some high anxiety around that. But just finding some soft middle ground in between that might be helpful to you. So that is part 2, and I will talk about the week by week kind of planning in part 3. Thank you so much.